So Deadly Premonition 2 kicks things off with you assuming the role of Aaliyah Davis. Accompanying her is Simon Jones. Both are investigating former FBI Francis York Morgan. The person in question, Zach, dealt with the case involving the Clarksons in Le Carré. We learned that Zach was unable to locate the body of Lise Clarkson during his investigation. 14 years later, the FBI managed to discover the body of Lise Clarkson. How Aaliyah hopes to learn more about the events of the Clarksons for now is a mystery. All she can do really is question Zach's involvement in the case by bringing up the past by using old case files. During her questioning, she brings up red trees, managing to get Zach to discuss the events that took place in Le Carré. The game then transitions from the present 2019 back to 2005, with the player now assuming the role of the younger Special FBI Francis York Morgan. Finally I'm back playing as York and I can listen to more of him talking to himself.
The human relationships here are as fluid as an inorganic mechanism running on the smoothest, purest oil there is.
It's the deadly drug Saint Rouge that leads York here to Le Carré. Upon leaving the hotel, a new character introduces herself, Patricia Woods. She starts nagging York on his smoking. He tells her that death comes in many forms and how people are surrounded by easy ways to die. York then makes a contract with Patricia. Promises to protect her from all the evil in this world. Patricia, not knowing how York literally takes this, is funny to see later on. York then notices a connection between Saint Rouge and Lise Clarkson, and so the journey begins. I get people were upset with the initial release of the game having poor FPS issues, which are slowly being patched. So bumping into curbs can cause you to lose momentum and even getting hit from oncoming traffic. These issues aren't too annoying for me, however they are worth mentioning because you'll run into them no doubt. Moving on to more action focused sections, Deadly Premonition 2 will continue having the player explore the other world, thanks to York's special talent known as metaphysical offender profiling. York's bread and butter, a method he makes use of, needed to successfully solve the weird, abstract and unusual cases he's come across. The music in the sequel is as good as the first game, and spoiler alert, DP2 manages to include Life is Beautiful, soundtrack from the first Deadly Premonition. While the first Deadly Premonition had 3 composers working on the game, the sequel this time round only had the one. So as you can hear, Satoshi's style of music fits in with Deadly Premonition 2 and does a good job of complementing what's going on in the game. York failing to find Lise Clarkson's body in the Clarkson's cold storage warehouse, and Avery not being much help, mistakes Patricia for Lise Clarkson.
Lise.
Hey, cut it out!
Lise?
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No.
Even York later on confuses Patricia for Lise Clarkson. In between these story events, Hung On, the skeletal gentleman, helps guard York. It's later revealed that Professor R is behind the murder of Lise and Galena Clarkson.
Lise and Galena didn't lose their minds. They both died with honor.
Which York isn't a fan of and points that out to Professor R. He feels that Professor R's backstory of facing prejudice doesn't justify destroying the lives of others and the Clarksons using the drug she made, Saint Rouge.
Died with honor. Just how deluded are you?
In PJ's final moments, he reveals he didn't know how to deal with Professor R.
I didn't know.
Professor R's last words.
Patricia Clark's.
What is it, Patty? Where's Melvin?
This concludes the first half of the story. To be fair, I gotta agree with York on this one. Just because Professor R had a sad existence at home doesn't justify the death of Galena and Lise Clarkson. Back in 2019 land, Aaliyah continues her investigation. In the second half of the story, Patricia informs York Melvin is missing. York agrees to let Patricia stay with him in his hotel while he looks over the case.
Lena had intercourse with her older sister. Her own flesh and...
Now in the hunt for the goddess of fertility. Aaliyah believes Zach, after 14 years, kidnaps Patricia and has her imprisoned in his bedroom. What she finds is Zach's altar, and the game kicks us back to 2005. Back as York again during his investigation into the Clarkson case. Seeing Forrest Kaysen briefly in Le Carré isn't a surprise, considering the fact that the events in Le Carré took place before the first game. It's also revealed Professor Oz is working with Kaysen. After this reveal, York gets knocked unconscious and Patricia goes missing too.
Oh my lord! You sure look pooped, honey.
Hello, Alexis. Yes, someone did quite the number on me.
When York comes to, he heads back to the hotel and goes over the clues he's gathered so far, and discovers that Candy is the first daughter of the Clarksons, and Melvin is the Fool King. Later on, York, while having a coffee break in Alexis, is given another sign from Hungon, the skeletal gentleman. He's shown a vision of Melvin and Patricia and spills his coffee, which leads him to the location of where Patricia and Melvin could be. Melvin breaks free from Professor R's indoctrination by being reminded of his love for his daughter and shields Patricia. Being injured from the falling debris, he begs York to get Patricia out while he stays and accepts his fate with his wife.
Worst father, graced with the sweetest daughter. Life can be a bitch sometimes.
We learn why Aaliyah has taken the interrogation with Zach so seriously. It's because her younger brother overdosed on Saint Rouge, the same drug Zach and York were looking into. She hoped to learn more about it in hopes of finding a cure for her brother. We also learn that Professor R decides to make Patricia the next heir to the Clarksons.
At some point, Helena Doman decided that she wanted to make Patricia the next heir. The blood purge wasn't for the goddess of fertility. It was for their daughter, Patricia.
Hungon shows up again and offers another oracle. After this, we discover Avery Smith kidnaps Patricia and escapes. Zach manages to free himself and goes after Avery.
I'm the anonymous tipper. FK.
It's on the corner of 3rd Street. A 69 Pontiac GTO.
You've got excellent taste.
Zach speaks with Avery briefly before the final showdown. He realizes that Avery was more or less confessing to being Professor R's lab assistant. At the time, he brushed it aside, given Avery's mental capacity.
Avery Smith. After all this time, I found my way back to you. Back to the truth about just how special Lise was to you.
After defeating Avery, Kaysen shows up and manages to corrupt Zach in his vulnerable state. Aaliyah manages to catch up and shoot Zach during Patricia and Zach's reunion. York's word is bond when he arrives in 2019, just as a corrupted Aaliyah fires a gun at Patricia's locket that holds the contract York signed.
Oh, God. I don't even know what to say.
To protect her from all evil in this world. Not only that, York now merges with Zach for one final time in an effort to take down Kaysen once and for all. At this point, Zach is nearing the end of his life. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention that sooner. Zach is dying. He hopes to be with York again in the afterlife, but Patricia manages to convince him to live. I guess with York holding up his end of the contract, it's time to make a new contract to save Zach. Obviously, York's not going to say no. He is Zach. Plus, I don't think Patricia's ever going to let it go.
York, please! Save Zach! I know you can save him!
Death is inevitable, Patricia. It descends upon us all equally. All life dies in the end, and no one can change that.
But we're finally together again! This isn't fair! Come on! Fulfill the contract!
During the epilogue, we see a much healthier Zach, his younger look reflecting on his new lease on life. Before the credits roll, Zach narrates what happens to Avery. He's been convicted of multiple criminal offences and is now serving time in prison. Aaliyah and Simon get a promotion, and also Aaliyah's brother is showing signs of recovery. Life returns to normal in Le Carré. So will Swery return to the world of Deadly Premonition? Will we see Zach again? Don't overthink the harsh criticism the game received. It shows signs of age, the low FPS and janky animations you'd only associate with older games. However, Deadly Premonition 2, like older games, has heart. Filled with personality and character, a gripping story with a satisfying conclusion. It's a very cool series that deserves more praise for its unique and creative design. Even with the game releasing with frame rate issues that are slowly being rectified, I'm very happy with the sequel. It's a worthy follow-up to the original Deadly Premonition, glitches and all. The ending of the game had the same profound effect on me as the previous entry in the series. When it was all said and done, I was left reflecting on all the events that transpired throughout the game. An overall worthy sequel that brings Zack and York back for another adventure.